Okay, we're just going to do the end of the Gemara that we started before. And the Gemara started with Rav Chisda sending a question to Rav Nachman. And in the end, Rav Nachman finally said that a person is allowed to take the law into his own hands, if according to everyone, if there's a loss. And now the Gemara says, the Itmar, as it has been said. The Itmar means that there was a statement made by Amiram. The word Itmar is actually a compound word of, well, the Dalet would be like as or because. And this word is a compound of is Amar, which means it has been said. But whenever it says that, that's referring to a statement of Amiroim. And Rav Yehuda is an Amira. Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel or whatever. He's a student of Rav, and then a student of Shmuel, and then there's Yeshiva in Pumpadisa. So, but don't confuse us with Rabbi Yehuda. Rav Yehuda Amar. Rav Yehuda says, Lo yavid in nafshi. A person is not allowed to do the judgment lenafshe for himself, which means take the law into his own hands. And Rav Nachman holds avadin ishtinol nafshe. A person is allowed to take the law into his own hands. Simple machlekes. Rav Yehuda says you're not allowed to judge on your own, and Rav Yehuda says you are allowed. Rav Yehuda holds that you're not allowed, and Rav Nachman holds that you are allowed. So the Gemara now explains Heicha de pseida. Heicha, where there is a loss, pseida is a loss. Kulei alma. I wrote that out. Kulei alma. Loi pligi. Do not argue. Loi pligi. Pligi means to argue. Loi pligi is do not argue. Everyone would agree that means the avadin ishtinol nafshe, that a person is allowed to take the law into his own hands if there would be a loss if he goes to Bezdin. We learned the Rashi over here that explains why in the case of the well there would be a loss. Ki pligi, where do they argue? Heicha, where? Galekap say that where there's no loss, and others go to Bezdin and let the dayan judge. In that instance where there's no loss, so Rav Yehuda says Lo yavid in ishtinol nafshe, that a person is not allowed to take the law into his own hands. And what's the reason why he holds that? The kivan, because since the lekab say that there's no loss, lezel kame daina, let him go before a judge. That's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. There's no loss anyway, so go to the judge. You can't take the law into your own hands. You're not a judge. Rav Nachman holds that a person is allowed to take the law into his own hands in a case where there is no loss. And why is that? The kivan, because since the bedin avad, because he's doing according to the law, bedin, it's according to the law. I tried to fill that in. I know it's hard to read. According to the law, he's doing so loitarach, so we don't make him bother. A simple way of understanding the machlekes Rav Yehuda and Rav Nachman, at least the Achreinim explain it like this, is that you have a regular guy, he's not a judge, so why is he allowed to, he sees someone holding his object or taking the water that belongs to him. So according to both of them, because in that instance there's a loss, he would be allowed to take it away, take the water away, and push him away and take it if that would if he would need to. However, if in such a case there was no loss, you see someone holding it, you can go to Bezdin, you'll get it back. So you see someone reading your book. So Rav Yehuda holds that you have the right to save your own things, but you don't really. It's not really. That's not a judgment that you're allowed to do. So if you're not really saving anything, and you can go to, you have like a heter to salvage something that you would have lost, but you're not. Obviously, you're not a judge, so you have to go to Bezdin, and the Bezdin will decide or tell him that he has to give it back to you. Rav Nachman on the other hand says no. Somehow you have the right to actually judge. And therefore, even if there's no loss, you're allowed to judge this thing on your own. Now, obviously, it's when he's holding your own object. You can't just say, "Yeah, I think he owes me money. Let me go grab something of his," and you can't do that. But the exact criteria of when, according to Reb Nachman, you're allowed to take the law into your own hands and not use the judge, that's probably slightly complicated in the Paiskim when that would be allowed, although that is the halacha that you're allowed to do it. And there's a machlekes in if you're allowed to hit someone to do this, to take the law into your own hands. I know there's a rush about this and other things, but that will have to wait till we learn the Gemara's questions and answers to see exactly the criteria of when this is allowed and when it's not allowed. So again, Rav Yehuda holds that you're not allowed to take the law into your own hands if there's no loss. Only if there is a loss you're allowed to. Rav Nachman holds no, even if there's no loss you're allowed to. Okay.